What just happened? How to get PC crash report. Yep. Something's going on. I gotta explain something to you guys briefly too. Where are we at? I'll wait for you guys to get back in here. Hopefully the chat works. I usually have an issue with that. What the hell is going on? Holy shit. Yeah. Yes, something is happening. I do not know what just happened. To check crash reports, event viewer, hold on. Yes, I'm live now, but my entire system just shut off. Everything. Just my computer. I've not had that happen ever. It wasn't a power outage, like my lights and stuff didn't go off. Nothing went off but the computer. It just shut right down. And I will tell you, I think my computer just shut down. I don't know if I'm being hacked. I have like, hold on. I'm going to try to get the how do I access this? Event viewer in the Windows search bar. I was having an issue with my email, okay? So about a month and a half ago, I had to switch my email over because people were emailing me. I was sending emails, and it's actually still happening to a point on my Gmail account. And the emails are going into outer space. People are not receiving my emails, and also they're not going to spam, and I'm also not receiving emails. So I switched all my stuff over to a more secure check heat, force power off, could be overheating. Mike, I don't know, man. I have a pretty, I mean, I've never, look at it this way. I mean, maybe it's a probability. I'm trying to find a crash report here. Okay, expand Windows logs, select system applications. Hang on. Windows logs, system information. Here we go. Boston Broadside, yeah. But anyway, I have like antivirus stuff. Like I've been trying to, I signed up for that Aura for like identity theft. Like I've been doing all these things because it all started with the email. And now this just happened. I've never had this happen before. And I have a pretty beefy PC here, okay? I don't understand how it could overheat. And then I got to go to Boston Broadside. So first of all, let me see. Hold on. Expand Windows logs, select system, applications. Okay. Windows logs, select system. Applications. I'll do this after the I'll do this after we get done streaming. But something's going on. Yeah, I'll do this afterwards. Let me pull up the... No, I didn't do a Windows update recently. I know I usually am on top of them. I had one to update, but I never have crashes like that. And I use this PC for a lot of crazy things, so it's like, I don't understand. All right, hang on a second. Oh shit, look at this. Wait a second. How about this? Breaking sources say Marwa, I can't pronounce her last name, the woman in charge of holding Boston cops accountable, was just arrested for assaulting a Boston police officer and violating the 209A domestic abuse order. She's Wu's chief of staff for the Office of Police Accountability. Uh-oh. They're going down like flies. Sources tell us this stems from a fight in downtown Boston. She allegedly started yelling at police, "Do you know who I am?" She's a 2020 graduate of UMass, was hired by the Wu admin in 2022. Sources also tell us Mayor Wu does not want this info leaked to anyone. Well, looks like looks like it's too late for that. Yes. Yes. When was the last time I cleaned my fans out? I literally just cleaned. So I'll take the case off, like the covers of the case off. I could take the front, I could take the side, and I clean the fans. Somebody asked me this question, some lunatic. They asked me if there was a gun behind my head. Hang on. So I bought this on Amazon when it was on sale. It's like a little, it's not a weapon, okay? It's not a weapon. It's just an air gun. And I use this to clean out the fans. So, I mean, I'm pretty diligent with these things. I mean, I don't understand. I'm going to have to go and see what the hell happened with the crash report. All right, hang on. Boston. Actually, let's see what else he's got on here. He usually has some... Palestinian flag raising. Oh, this is the guy that got stabbed, by the way. Ketchup gun, yes. Yes. All right, so Boston broadside. Oh, they follow me. I'll follow them back. Oh. This is it, right? There we go. So, May 17th, State House. What time? Is the time in here? Saturday. Yeah. Here we go. Maybe this has more info. Are you guys going to go to this? Let me bring this up a little bit bigger. Oh, my bad, my bad. What the heck? Here we go. 10 to 11. Okay, so it's only an hour. I might be going to this as long as I could get some parking. What's up, Dan? Happy you made it here, buddy. Is anybody going to go to this? See, here's the problem, okay? Let me explain something here. So, I think that there should be an audit advocacy group, right? And we should do what the left is doing with all these picketing and petitions and, you know, like that's what should happen here, right? Like the audit is a huge deal. If it wouldn't be a big deal if it went through, but now this shit is just escalated. Let's just call it what it is. So it leads me to believe that there's more going on than what we actually know. So why can't the auditor or somebody or even Jeff, like there should be I mean, they should blow this up. There should be a website, there should be a portal, there should be this, there should be that, there should be frequently asked questions, there should be, you know, why we suspect the audit's not going through, you know, what previous audits had. Like it should be auditmassachusetts.com. That's what the website should be. It should be auditmassachusetts.com. There should be an advocacy group, the whole 9 yards, right? Everybody should have easy access. You click a link, you email a politician, and they just get bombarded, right? That's realistically what should happen here. What I'm trying to say is that the left is very good at one thing. They are good at organizing, okay? The left is very good at organizing because, and at random times during the day too. I don't know if that's because they're all rich or they're all poor or they don't work. I have no freaking idea. I don't know how it happens. I don't know if they're taking off work. I have no freaking clue. But that's what needs to happen. All right, hang on. I got to read some of your comments. We were talking about, me and Ryan were talking about it yesterday. That may even be on the podcast. We were talking about the audit a little bit yesterday as well. And I think I mentioned this. Somebody had mentioned this to me, and then I think I mentioned it to the auditor, where if the legislators are claiming that it's unconstitutional, why can't they amend the Constitution to allow the audit, right? And my stance on this, and I think I may have said this either on the phone or on video, whatever, my stance is like, even if they block this amendment to the Constitution, it just adds more fuel to the fire of something that the state is not allowing to happen, if that makes sense. So like, again, I said it yesterday with the, Maura Healey, like we're chipping away, like all these, again, it's like a death by 1,000 cuts, right? All these little incremental chipping aways, they all start to add up. All right, hang on. What happened? I don't know. I think I was hacked or something. I have to figure this out. I really don't know. All right, podcasters get priority at White House press briefings now. You should sign up. Really? I get all the press releases from the State House. Rolling back to watch from the start. Oh. Mike Crawford has Diana DeZoglio on his show before. I think you guys speak the same language. I'll have to look him up. You live in California. You're in the wrong place. You're no better off where you're at right now, buddy. Let me just tell you. Here, let me go to the State House news. Let's see if there's any good press releases. Oh, what's this? Spending push. Oh, yeah, we know about that. You know what else? I wanted to tell you this. I heard, you remember everything that was going on at White Stadium? I actually went to one of their meetings. Josh Kraft was there, the whole 9 yards. Somebody had told me, you remember how it was like supposed to be like 50 million, then it went to 100 million? I heard it's up to $140 million now. Let me look that up. White Stadium. I heard it was 140 million. I'll have to look it up later. Let's look up this. Did you guys see this? This shit was crazy. Russian national charged with smuggling biological material into Boston. They had like these frog legs or like frog embryos or something like that. I mean, I don't even know what to say. What are we discussing in general today? We're just talking. First, I was talking about what happened in Worcester. I asked if there was anybody that knew any police officers that would be willing to come on the podcast. We're just doing our thing. That's all. You could also check the CPU and RAM usage if you see there. Mike, my CPU, I have like 32 gigs of RAM. I have a crazy CPU. I don't understand. I love that people give a crap now about the corruption. Well, what happens is like people won't care. Like think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? People won't care about something unless it affects them directly, right? So if something starts affecting their family or their pocketbooks or whatever, then they start to get to a position where they start to care. It's all that it is. I didn't really care that much about politics when I was 18 or 19 years old. I started to care about these issues as I got older, and I had a career, I had a family, I have kids. You know, that's how it goes. Let's see. You know what I think we need to also do, beside advocating for the audit? I think we also need to audit the emergency shelter systems. I had this conversation with Ryan Fatman yesterday. I'm going to try to release that episode as soon as I can. I usually release them on the weekend. If I get it sooner than that, I will. He's very, very good. He's very well spoken. I mean, we're like, him and I are kind of on the same wavelength. We're the same age. Both have kids, you know, both have, I think, you know, strong moral values. And, you know, I think we should audit. We were talking about auditing the emergency shelter system. The emergency shelter system needs to be audited. Mass Save needs to be audited. And we need to see where this money is going, because I realistically think that we are probably spending more than $1 billion. I think we're spending $1 billion on paper, but on the back end, we're probably spending more between like healthcare. He actually told me, so here was a good one. You'll see this during the podcast. I'm not trying to spoil anything, but when illegal immigrants were first coming here, this happened back in 2023. There's SNAP benefits, okay? SNAP benefits, I believe, on a state level, a lot of those benefits are provided by the federal government. Now, I explained this in a previous video, but technically, you cannot use federal funds on non-U.S. citizens, okay? So what the state did, and this came from Ryan, all right? What the state did was they created a state-run SNAP system. They put $6 million into the bank account, and they basically gave everybody like an EBT card that came here illegally. That money was history. Like, I think he said it was 3 months or 2 months or something like that. So they blew through $6 million in 3 months. How could you blow through $6 million in 3 months? How much is that per day? 6 million divided into, let's say, 90 days, divided into 30. That's 2,200. Is my math right? $2,200 a day? 6 million divided into 90 days, right? Am I doing this right? Hold on. Hold on. No, it's $66,000 per day. That's what it is. How could you spend $66,000 per day? Am I crazy? Am I doing the math wrong? That's a lot of freaking money. Definitely audit shelter. Well, I said, like, how could, yeah, 6 million in 3 months. That's why I think you see a lot of people, like, do yourself a favor, okay? Go to Concord, go to Woburn, go to Quincy, go to, where was the other one? Lawrence. Go to these Red Roof Inns and go drive through the parking lot and see the type of cars that you see. I'll leave it at that. Check your task manager, look at the CPU and RAM performance and see if the spikes are high in percentage used. Most likely it's fine. Here, let me do this. I mean, even right now, with this stream going at potentially 4K, I'm at 17% CPU usage and 44% memory usage. And most of that memory is being used by Google, by Chrome, because I just have a whole bunch of tabs open. OBS is the second biggest contributor to that, but OBS is still only at 2.5% CPU and only 526 megabytes of RAM. I mean, I have like 32 gigs of RAM. I think, or 64. I have to check. No, I can't have 60. Do I have 64? I don't know. 2 million per month. How could you blow through 2 million per month? What kind of cars are there? BMWs, Mercedes, and Teslas. It's just Windows, man. Last update sucked. I've had this computer for 2 years. I've never had it just shut off like that. And there was no blue screen. It was literally a complete shut off. Like it just completely, like maybe there's something wrong with my power supply, is what I'm thinking. It was crazy. I wish I didn't have to use Windows, but I do. I really wish I didn't have to. There was this too. So, let me see. Is this just the statement? Yeah, this. I'm going to go through the drivers. I'm going to go through everything when I get off stream. I got to get this fixed because it doesn't make sense to me. Oh, the rank. Here's another one. Oh my God. They're talking about the ranked choice voting again. Can't we just run the system normally? Why do we have to have all these like alternative systems to make things more confusing, to confuse the taxpayers even more? Massachusetts Fiscal Alliance urges Boston City Council to reject ranked choice voting scheme. This proposal is a distraction from real issues facing Boston's electoral system. Boston's election department is currently in a state receivership because it couldn't handle basic election administration. Before experimenting with convoluted voting schemes like ranked choice voting, the city needs to demonstrate it can manage the basics. There you go. Manage the basics from my buddy Paul. Like, let's make everything more confusing and fool more voters into voting blue. I mean, why don't you just come out and say it like that? Somebody is watching. That's what I said. That's why I'm going to check the crash report. I was just saying that. That's why I have, I switched my, I was saying this earlier. There was only a couple people in here. I switched my, what's it called? My email provider for the, like, you know, the show's email and the press email, stuff like that. We did that. I signed up to that Aura, and they do like an identity, you know, if your identity's been stolen, like they do a whole bunch of stuff. It's pretty cool. But I did that. I have like Bitdefender, like virus protection stuff. Like I don't know what else to do. I really don't. That happened to me because of my GPU was going bad. My GPU better not be going bad. I have to. I do need to update those drivers. But this. I think if it was a GPU issue, I think that I would have had a blue screen or something. This was just a complete turnoff. It was just like black. Everything went black. It was crazy. Confusion is the incubator for increased control. I agree. Yeah, ranked choice voting. You know what the funny thing is too? So, oh man, hold on one second. Let me pull this up real quick. I went over this morning, and I was actually going to do a video on this. So, did you guys see this? Inflation, unemployment in Massachusetts ahead of national averages. So, who's to blame, right? So, basically, this, here we go. This academic watchdog group, Mass Benchmarks, they released a report on the state economy, and they go on to say, which shows inflation and unemployment are running ahead of national levels amid an economic slowdown. So We do, and obviously people pounced on this. So let me just sum this up for you. So I believe both unemployment records or unemployment and inflation are up in Massachusetts, but nationally they're down everywhere else. So what's happening is people are saying, who's to blame? I mean, is it Healey's fault or is it Trump's fault that's been in office for 3 months? But the reality here is that if the rest of the country is showing, let's say, a net positive for employment, and let's say that the inflation is down, but Massachusetts is still high, I feel like that's an isolated issue. I feel like that's a pretty common sense take. Right? Would you agree? I would agree with that. The current administration largely affects future growth, not current growth, and that's less true of the federal government, where administrators can conduct fiscal and monetary policy that immediately affect growth. Let's see. This is the Republican. I forget her first name. Is it Rebecca or Kim? No state in the country can begin to make up for the kind of cuts that are being talked about. Many states feel the effects of federal cuts and tariffs, but Massachusetts is especially vulnerable. We rely heavily on federal grants and foreign trade. I mean, there's two truths to this, right? We spend too much, and now we're also simultaneously not receiving as much. So I think this is a one-party state. Welcome. It's nuts. What's Stephen F? Where is that? Did I miss that? Somebody is watching. That's how I feel. I could learn Linux. I don't think the feds have anything to, like, I'm not doing anything illegal here, guys. But I think that perhaps, who knows, maybe somebody from the state. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not trying to claim these things, right? I'm just saying that this was very isolated incident and very strange. They should have piles of tax money. She blew through all the money. We have a budget deficit. My GPU just made the screen go black. It seemed created everything. Maybe it was my GPU then. I don't know. I got to look at the crash report once we get off, though. I got to take a look at that and see if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, so there's a report here. You could actually download it. It's from this Mass Benchmarks. I downloaded this report earlier. Yeah. Slow economic growth. Yeah, I'm not going into that hysteria, but it is strange. I saw that they're finding Chinese communication devices in the solar panel hardware. I mean, like, guys, we don't even talk about that part of it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yes, I was reading that. Well, that's the thing. So most of these components, whether it be the solar panels, whether it be the wind, no matter what it is, they're all manufactured. They're all manufactured overseas, right? With Mayor Wu, will Boston become the next San Francisco? Yes. I think so. I don't know if she's going to get reelected. I really don't know. I really don't know. What else did I want to show you guys? So you see, this is the State House news. Like, you read through this, like, watch this, right? Okay, Governor Healey, Attorney General, remind borrowers of resource. Okay, yeah, nice. Then you keep going. And then it says House Republicans advance partisan legislation to rip healthcare from millions of Americans, right? So if there's anything involved with the right, you know that it's going to be a negative headline. Like it's almost a guarantee. Yep. Healy Driscoll administration honors Massachusetts educators at an annual celebration. You know. Oh. Awards $916,000 to improve and protect water quality. Yeah. AAA bond rating for 4th consecutive year. But then anything that's Republican, it's just like, let's look at this article. I mean, come on. Where is it at? Here. I'll have to... Oh, it's not even that long. Partisan reconciliation package, which will cut Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act as a result of the last 13.7 million Americans losing health coverage to the House floor. Over the past 26 hours, House Republicans have rejected every single Democratic amendment. Amendments that would have protected Americans' health care, lowered out-of-pocket costs, kept pollution out of our children's schools. Yeah. Just keep on. Yeah, okay. Yes. Instead, every Republican member of this committee voted to preserve a cruel and reckless bill that will help rip coverage. I'm going to have to read into this and see what actually happened. Because what they say, it's just complete propaganda. Oh, yeah, propaganda machine is in full force. I mean, it's just absolutely sickening, right? I'm going to look more into that article, though. It's just, you can't. Oh, man. Good morning, Mike. Massachusetts cannot serve or survive another Healy term. We need to get... Yeah, I think she's cooked. I do. I think she's cooked. I really and truly do. I think she's cooked. I do. Yep. I think she's cooked. Can you explain why the state passed a bill to extend the COVID-19 provisions from March 2025 to March 27? That I'm not entirely... I would have to look into that to get a good opinion on it. Maybe... Let me think about this. Maybe it was to protect some businesses or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. A lot of us have good ideas, and where point is somebody needs to step up. Yes. I think as I said earlier, I don't know if you were part of this, but like, I think that there's opportunity, and I think that's why you're seeing so many people that are trying to run, because I think on one hand they don't like the way the state is being run, and on the other hand they also are trying to capitalize on an opportunity because they don't like the way the state's being run, and that would provide an opportunity for them to potentially beat Healy. If Healy is voted out and the same policies continue, will we wake up then? It's a good question. Lori Trahan is garbage. Yes. It's crazy. Why do I see some messages on the screen but not the window chat area? I don't know why that's happening. I see. I don't know if it's coming through too fast. Again, I don't live stream that often, guys, so. Does anybody else think the state has too far gone to change? Again, it's another chipping away process, right? It's going to take time to do things. Like, things aren't going to change overnight. And that's what I tried to explain yesterday in the video about energy. Like, you know, you can't expect things to just go from the way it is to the way we think it's going to, or the way we think it should be, right? But what's happening is a lot of people are voting with their feet, okay? And they're piecing right out, right? They're leaving the state. They're sick of it. It's really getting bad here. And I think that there's a lot of different data and metrics that you could look at. And I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to figure some of these things out. You just have to look at these these issues, all of the issues, right? You need to look at them and be a little bit skeptical when they are passing whatever they are deciding to do. And when you start to look at those things and you start to link it to this, or this was this political donor, that's why this person has a no bid contract, like all of this stuff, it's like a web of just nonsense, right? And everything is connected somehow. But the funny thing is, and I will tell you guys this, the funny thing about this is that a lot of us, like, for instance, I met with Ryan yesterday. I've met with the auditor. I've met with this person. I met with this person. The funny thing is like, a lot of these people are in a position, like, while the left here, this democratically run state, is all sitting around patting each other on the backs about X, Y, and Z. You know, what's happening is on the other side, there is like this coalition forming, okay? There's this coalition forming because people are getting sick of the same old rhetoric. They're getting sick of being told what to do, how to do it, and they're sick of being taxed so much. They're sick of losing their rights. They're sick of everything, right? And I've said this before, I'll say it again a million times. Like, you want to radicalize people, the fastest way to do that is to favor certain people, right? But not the other people. And that's a huge issue, right? So like, if you're not treated fairly and it's on paper or it's obvious, guess what? People are going to get pissed off. And that's what's happening in this state. People are pissed off. If you guys weren't pissed off, we wouldn't be here, right? We're all pissed off. And it's not only being pissed off. I think that what's happening now, so look at it this way. Like, look at this spectrum. Here's the deal. The left has had this overarching control for so long here. And let's say the public opinion is that there was no public opinion. People were scared to voice their opinion publicly, whether it be with your family, whether it be with your friends, whether it be at where you work or whatever it is. But the reason that happened, and the reason people were scared to do that, even beyond just Massachusetts, is because over the last few years, people have been ostracized and silenced for saying what they believe, right? Like, and calling misinformation or calling it propaganda. Like, if you were on, like, for instance, me recording this right now, I probably wouldn't even have been able to say this a couple of years ago under the Biden administration, right? Like, I would be kicked off the platform. That's why there was other platforms that started to come up through the ranks, because YouTube was deplatforming people. And I still potentially have a threat of that. I hope it doesn't happen. But what's happening now is, like, while the left has all of their coalition and all of these things, whatever you want to call it, the same thing is happening. And it's not even a left versus right issue. It's like there's this coalition of like-minded people that have the same moral values and the same ideas. And it seems as though they're coming together. And the reason that I say that is because every single time I meet a politician or I meet somebody on the street or whatever it may be, like, somebody knows this person that I know, and they talked about this issue and they talked about this. Like, it's really crazy. And I've been talking about this a lot with a lot of different people, but there's just this organization, you know, it's like a loose organization of people that are becoming woken up to what is actually happening in their backyards. But if this was a couple of years ago, like, you guys are scared, like, you know, if somebody asks who you voted for or what you think about this, like, you know, you'd literally be ostracized. Like, people were scared to voice their opinion. But now it seems like that's changing, in my opinion. And I think that that's changing at a rapid rate, because here's a good example. Look at what was happening. Like, I watch a lot of stand-up comedy and stuff, right? Like, think about stand-up comedy from like 10 or 15 years ago versus stand-up comedy over the course of the last like 4 to 8 years. Okay. Everything is politically correct. You know, this person's getting canceled. This person's getting canceled for saying this. You can't say this. You can't say that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And a lot of that public correctness and a lot of that cancel culture is somewhat been eliminated. Like, every single day that passes by, it's just more of an opportunity to eliminate more nonsense, right? Like we went too far, right? We just went too far is basically what happened here. And now people are starting to come back to reality, because if you really think about these things, if you were to teleport somebody from like 1995 into, let's say, 2020 or 2021, they would be like, what is going on here? It's like you're living in an alternate reality. It's crazy. So that's why I think more and more people, especially in states like Massachusetts, maybe California is too far gone right now, but I will tell you, a lot of people moved out of California, right? They moved from California and they moved to Texas because they were just sick of it, right? They were just completely sick of it. A lot of people moved out of California. So, I think the change will come. It will be incremental. But if it doesn't, I will say this, though, to play devil's advocate. If it doesn't happen over the course of the next 4 years, I don't know if it'll ever happen, right? Like, I really don't know. Like, I think New England should just eliminate themselves and just become like their own independent, their own independent country or something, right? Like, it's just crazy. It's nuts. How do you vote these people out if 500,000 more votes are counted? Yes, I agree with you. Well, again, this is a cumulative effort. It's not one person. It's not one thing. You got, what's his name? They're working on the voting. I think his name is Jeff. I apologize if I got his name wrong. I can't remember everybody's names. You have them working on the voting. You have Elijah and a little bit of myself working on energy. You have the auditor working on the audit. Like there are things that are happening. Leah Foley is in the background, and I'm telling you, she's crushing it. Leah Foley is absolutely, I want to get her on the podcast. Leah Foley is crushing it. She really is. Because she's sick of the nonsense too. I can tell you that. All right, let me catch up. How do people like Healy keep getting elected? Remember, she got elected before a lot of these. In my opinion, the changes are still. Think about what's happened in the last 3 months, right? Or the last 4 months or 5 months. A lot has happened. Like, the perception of reality has changed, in my opinion. Okay? Could a new governor open the doors to the feds on day one? I don't know. They need to reverse the Lunn Act, I can tell you that. They stomp on our 2A rights, ignore SCOTUS. Yes. It's freedom versus tyranny. People get ostracized in silence if they speak the truth. Yes, I agree. And I try to, me, like, I try to have a balanced approach here, right? Like, even when... that's why I think some of you missed my headline when I said I can't believe what I'm reading. Like, I really couldn't believe what I was reading, not because I was like slightly excited, but slightly skeptical too. And like, that's what happens. So like, people will read into these things and be like, holy shit, this is a huge win for Massachusetts. We're going to save $10 billion. But then when you break those numbers down, you're like, oh shit, I'm saving $10 a month. What is this? And then when you look further into it, right? But I'm still going to do a deep dive on the nuclear, but that's going to take me a lot of time, effort, and research. So you got to give me an opportunity to do that. Platforms, if you're only on YouTube, no alternate plan. Yeah, I know, but we'll see. I'm not, like I said, I'm not doing anything outside of the realm of. It's shout out to Elijah. Yes. California has a lot of districts turning red. Massachusetts is entirely blue. Yeah, New Hampshire is not. You know what the funny thing is about New Hampshire? I feel like people that live in Massachusetts like to talk shit on New Hampshire, right? Don't they? Don't they like to talk shit on New Hampshire? That's how I feel. Let's see. I live in Florida half the year, night and day. Florida has a good governor. I'm still waiting for those fine feds to rescue Karen Read. Yeah. I don't know anything about Karen Read. I refuse to look into it. I refuse to watch anything about it. And I refuse to give my opinion on it because I really don't know. We love the mountain folk. Hell yeah. I love the mountains. I used to mountain bike a lot. But I had to have my, I haven't got mountain biking in a long time. I had to have my hip replaced. I had to have my left hip replaced a few years ago. I have really bad arthritis. People move from Massachusetts to New Hampshire and vote the same way. That is the problem. They're lunatics. It's funny because when you think about it, if they're leaving the state because they can't afford the state that they live in, but they're voting the same way in the state that they move to, don't you think that's funny? Like, don't you think it's funny that they have to leave because they can't afford to live here or whatever reason is, and they're still voting the same way in the state that they're moving to? So they're trying to they're trying to turn New Hampshire into a state that they can't afford to live in either. Like, what the hell is this? National Grid rides around $50,000 Ford electric Mustangs to read meters. Yes, I know. Yeah, Casey, my left hip. That's a funny story. You want to hear that story? That's a good story. How old was I? 36 or 37, I think. Yeah, this is what happened. And let me frame it like this. So I thought that I have two kids. I'll tell you the hip story. I have two kids, right? My wife and I have been together for like 17 or 18 years, a long time, almost right out of high school. And I thought from picking up the kids that I pulled something in my groin, right? So like lifting my daughter, playing with the kids, whatever, okay? So I let it go. And we were up at Hampton Beach, and we were with some family, and they saw me doing stretching in the morning or whatever. They're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, my groin is killing me. And you know what it's like when you talk to family? Like, I normally don't talk about problems that I have, right? Not even to my family, because by that point in time, it had already been 6 months and my groin never went back to normal. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? I thought, like I said, I thought I pulled something in my groin. So after that, June, let me think, that was in, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So about a month or so after that, I scheduled an appointment at Excel Orthopedics in Woburn. And I thought I was going in for physical therapy. Okay. That's what I intended to do. I'm like, I got to go to a physical therapist. I got to get this shit worked out. Like, this is killing me. So lo and behold, the doctor takes me into the room. They're like, oh, we're going to do a x-ray on you first before we, do some physical therapy. I said, okay, that's fine. So I go to get the x-ray. I come back into the doctor's room. I'm waiting for them to tell me what's going on. And again, I went in there because my groin was bothering me. All right. I'm not a doctor, right? I have no clue. So the doctor comes in and he asks me, did I ever injure my hip? And I said, no. Why? I came in for my groin, right? I came in for my groin. There's nothing wrong with your hip. I said, why? He said, well, you have the hip of a 75-year-old man. I said, what? I said, what do you mean? He's like, you're going to need a whole hip replacement. I said, you're joking, right? Like, this is a joke, right? This can't be real. He's like, no. He's like, then he brings up the x-ray. He's showing my left hip in comparison to my right hip. And he's like, your cartilage between the ball and the socket, it was like completely gone. And I guess for some people, it'll hurt like in your, like deep in your groin area. So lo and behold, 4 or 5 months later, it was like December 10th, I think. I had to have surgery, and they chopped the bone off. They put a titanium rod in there with the whole 9 yards. So, and I used to play a lot of basketball. I used to mountain bike. I used to be a crazy mountain biker. But I haven't done a lot. I've been trying to so I had to go through rehab therapy, but it turns out my right hip is probably going to eventually be in the same position. I have terrible arthritis, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to tell you this story now because I don't want to get upset, but I had a problem a long time ago with my liver. And yeah, I almost died, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the arthritis, because it did affect my, my long-term memory is not the best. It affected my kidneys, my liver, my heart. It was really bad. Yes, part Wolverine, absolutely. I'm going to have new knees, new elbows, new shoulders, new hips. I'm going to be like, I'm just going to be like a robot, I really think I am. Yes, I am part Terminator. Yes. Yes. 100. Thank you for the $5, Steve. That means a lot. Is the hip the reason I got out of electrical work? No. No, it's not. So you want me to tell the story? If you want me to tell the story, I'll tell the story. We could rebuild him. I will tell the story. So, all right, here goes. All right. So back in 2015, I was working out a lot, and I went to a shop and I bought like a weight gainer. Okay. And what had happened is I took it for like 3 weeks, and my entire body basically was depleting because I was working. And this was a long time ago. This was actually, no, it was, let me think. It's 2025, 10. Yeah, no, it's got to be about 10 years ago now, 10 or 11 years. So anyway, long story short, I was really tired at work. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I went and I got blood work. My blood work came back, and my liver enzymes were through the roof. They were in like the thousands, okay? And I went to the hospital after that. They're like, we need to get you into the hospital, because I was like throwing up. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I don't know if I feel like telling the full story, because I don't want to get upset or anything. But yeah, I spent a year. I almost died. I lost 60 pounds. I was 125 pounds. I was in the hospital for almost a year. My kidneys, I almost had to go on dialysis. My heart, my liver, my brain, everything was affected. So they checked my hip for necrosis of the bone, which could be, I guess, I don't know if any of you are doctors or nurses or whatever, but they did a biopsy on the bone and it didn't have that. But anyway, long story short, I had some trouble. Yes, I almost died back in 2015. And after that, that's when I stopped doing electrical work, and I studied for my real estate exam, but I almost didn't live. I thought I couldn't get a liver transplant. So my bilirubin, I'm kind of paraphrasing the story, because it's actually it's much worse than what I'm explaining to you. Very, very bad. Very, very bad. But yeah, I had a PICC line in my arm. So I have like a hole here, and I had like this tube that went into my heart, and I used to have to change like saline bags in order to get water. I mean, when I was going to the bathroom, it looked like Coca-Cola. So the bilirubin, it's something called bilirubin, right? So sometimes when babies are born, they're born with jaundice. I had like case study level jaundice. Okay. My eyes, my hands, like I was like, I looked like an Oompa Loompa from like Willy Wonka. But long story short, my bilirubin was like a 78. It's supposed to be like a 0.4. And they didn't think, there was no cure for what I had. There was absolutely no cure, because what was happening was the liver was, I guess, maybe slowly regenerating, but not to the point where it was absolutely killing me. Like I was not eating, I was like 125 pounds. It was crazy. It was crazy. But the worst part, I'll be honest with you, was the itching. Staying up at night in the, like, oh my God, you guys don't even know. I mean, I'm lucky to be here, not because I could have died from the problem, but because I didn't do something I shouldn't have done. That's how bad it was. Okay. It was bad. It was really bad. But then I did electrical work for 10 years right out of high school. Then I started to, I got my real estate license, and I was just off to the races from there. But yeah, I could tell the story in more detail and shit, but it was really, really bad, guys. It was really, really bad. But I think that has something to do with my hip. That's the moral of the story. I really do. Because I never injured, like playing basketball throughout, grade school and high school. I never fell off my bike to the point where I couldn't walk. because they said it's osteoarthritis. Well, how do you get osteoarthritis if you... Was it non-alcohol induced fatty liver disease? No. You want to know what it was? So the pills that I took, well, first of all, they did a biopsy of my liver, and the needle they used was like, I swear, it was like this thick, and they couldn't give me anything. It felt like I got shot. Or stabbed. It was horrible. So what ended up happening was the pills that I took, I had reverse engineered. Okay. And basically, on this like graph, these people that are looking at it, it had the same like biomolecular structure of an oral steroid. So that's what it was. It was an oral steroid. And I had, it wasn't cirrhosis. I can't remember what the word was. I'd have to think about it, but it was something, it wasn't fatty liver or anything like that. Yeah. It was the supplement. It wasn't working out. And I took that shit for like 2 weeks. I took a supplement for 2 weeks. It almost killed me. So be careful taking any stuff off the shelf. I'm telling you. Really, really bad, guys. It was really, really bad. Crazy. Because what happens is I did some research into this. So a lot of these like non-FDA approved, you know, companies, if you want to call them that are manufacturing these pills, they're actually manufactured outside of the country. And then they get here, you know, they're probably getting put together in like somebody's basement. And then once they come to the United States, they put different labels on them. And that was it. But it was a crazy, crazy time. Absolutely crazy. I'm trying to think of what it was, what it was called. Yeah, but it was bad. It was really bad. Yeah, giant needle in the liver. That was one of the worst parts, I will tell you, because they couldn't give me anything. I couldn't take any medication, right? Because I just couldn't. It was fucking crazy. Yeah, my eyes were like as yellow as they could get. Yeah, concoctions from China, more than likely. They had, at the hospital, they never saw somebody with a bilirubin so high that actually survived. That's what they said. Yep. It was rough. But here we are. Right? He came back on air. Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. I had a coworker die from liver failure. Yeah. I think it was called cholestasis. I think that's what it was called. I don't know how to spell this, so don't blame me. Something like that. Condition where yes, this was it. Cholestasis of the liver. So this was part of it, at least. Is a condition where the flow of bile from the liver is slowed or blocked. This could happen in the liver itself or in the bile ducts, leading to buildup of bile within the liver and consequently bile salts in the bloodstream. So what had happened is, yes, so what has happened is the bilirubin, which I think helps break down like, you know, like different types of oils and stuff. Like when you eat, I think the liver secretes it during, if you eat like really fatty food or something like that. It was entering the bloodstream, but not exiting. Right. And that's why I was like, you know, the color of an Oompa Loompa. But that's what I believe that's what it was. Cholestasis of the liver. Yep. And then the jaundice, my eyes. Oh my God. It was really bad. It was awful. No, it wasn't gallstones. I just damaged my liver, right? My liver was completely damaged from an oral steroid. That it just blocked these. Like there was no cure. There was like absolutely no cure for this. I had a liver specialist team. I had a kidney specialist team. It sucked. It was awful. It happened so fast. Yeah, $67,000 per day. How could you blow through $67,000 per day? I don't know. What's going on? Yeah. Oh shit. Had a coworker die of liver failure. Yeah, it sucks. No, we got good doctors. I mean, oh. All right, guys. I have a couple things to do. Yes, scary stuff. Liver problems could go south fast. Yes. Well, what happens is like your liver. This was like poisoning the blood, right? So in turn, it had like this domino effect. Like it started with the liver, went from the liver to the kidneys, and it went from the kidneys to the brain, then it went from like the brain to the heart. It was like complete dominoes. It was insane. It was insane. All right, guys, I'm going to hop off for a little while this afternoon. I have some real estate stuff I have to take care of. But yeah, that's it. But it's been fun. I'm going to try to do more of these when I can. And hopefully I'll have that episode with Ryan out within the next day or maybe over the weekend or something. All right, guys. Who's the lady in the wake up shirt? I know that was just an image. I'm going to work on my computer too a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'll see you on the next one. All right. Thanks for everything, guys. I wouldn't